Welcome to the channel, Gaming Army. This video finds us diving head first into the event queue. Now, I have to be honest up front. I am more of a pickup game kind of guy myself, and this is my first foray really into the event queue. If you haven't checked it out, I advise you to do so. It offers something a little bit different than what you're going to find in the normal pickup games. So in this video, as the drop unfolds, we're going to talk about the event queue itself, some specifics about this particular map, the mechs that I have lined up in my drop deck, as well as the regular gameplay commentary. So the first thing we're going to start with is the fact that we are playing a domination match on Terra Firma, and this is the Terra Firma Classic, for lack of a better term. Now, if you haven't tried one of the event queue matches before, just know the PGI is offering these at various times, and each event is different. So before just charging blindly into one of the event queues, make sure you check out the criteria very carefully for each drop, and then adjust your mech accordingly, and or change up the picks in your drop deck for the specific conditions that will take place on that particular battlefield. So we had some bad opening shots with our Gauss rifles, but we managed to settle into our rhythm and land the shots when they count, legging the enemy fleet, and that allows my teammates to quickly focus and kill him, which is a very good thing because a skirmisher like that in the backfield can do a lot of damage to teammates, so it was important that we got him off the board. Now I just need to slow things down and take my time. This is a marathon, not a sprint. We each have 4 mechs available to us. It's 8v8, so that's a total of 32 mechs. So I do need to be careful about pacing myself properly, and that's why I ducked back away from the Fafnir. While I have pinpoint damage, his damage over time with his shotgun-style ballistics will eventually lighten off my armor and open up something important, which I don't want to happen. My goal is to get out as many of my Gauss rounds as possible. Now, once I'm out of ammunition, the mech is worthless, and I can eject or get killed or do something and come back with a fresh mech. But I want to get out as much damage on this first mech as possible. So I'm going to try and trade a couple of little sneaky angle shots on the enemy Fafnir and at least put him under pressure. And it looks like he's backing off, but he does have some support over there as well. But I'm going to push in forward here because it kind of looks like they're backing off, except for the fact that I have a low signal in my area, which means there's an enemy stealth mech somewhere in this general vicinity, and I want to try and get some eyes on him. Not sure if it was down below or off to my left or right. I just don't want to get myself or my teammates shot in the back for not paying attention to battlefield conditions. And it appears the enemy unit has moved off. There's no low signal, so I am going to continue pushing towards the last known position of the enemy Fafnir. I've lost eyes on him, and I want to well, okay, maybe I don't want to reacquire him quite like that. I thought he had moved on, but he is still right there around the corner. But we quickly get a shot on his CT, which must have been open, and that takes the Fafnir out of the game. It also frees me up to look across the way at a couple of units that were trying to push on that left flank. And now the UAV spots another enemy unit in my general vicinity, and this is a linebacker, and at that moment it's not registering with me the fact that he has ATMs and that I can push directly into him. I'm a little hesitant to do so because there is a second mech supporting this linebacker, and Thanatos with Gauss rifles is not necessarily the best brawling platform. He pushes forward, and that allows us to get a couple of parting shots on him as he runs by. His right torso is now in trouble, and my right torso is in trouble as well. I'm starting to take fire from 2 units on that far side. I ignored them a little too long, But here comes a dire wolf. We're going to take his left torso, and as he's looking towards us, we manage to get the good shot on his right torso. The second unit on that left side is going forward and engaging my teammates on that side of the board. I have to be more concerned on the trailing unit that was on this right-hand side. And coming around the rock, we find a Vulcan with a flamer that is quite annoying, but not super dangerous to us. And we're going to take that right torso off of his neck, and it looks like he's running XL. Down he goes. And now comes a Mist Lynx, and we manage an amazing clutch headshot on the Mist Lynx. And by all accounts, I should be dead with the amount of open components that I have going, and the fact that that Mist Lynx has all the machine guns in the world. I should not have survived, but I lived to fight another day, and we've managed to find some more enemy units, including a Roughneck and our friend, the linebacker from earlier. Unfortunately, my teammates haven't yet capitalized on the right torso. I can't fault them for that because I missed also. I hit his right arm instead of the right torso, but let's see if we can't focus him down, or at least put him under great amounts of pressure, which we do. He's half down, he's getting focused from every which way, and he says, no mas. He bails out and heads for the basement, so good luck to him. I just hope I have a teammate in the basement who is waiting to greet him and give him the very warm welcome on this map that he deserves. So pushing forward, I do have to be very, very careful what I do next with my mech. Again, this is a marathon, not a sprint, and my goal was to get out as many of my Gauss rounds as possible before I go down. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, but right here it looks like the damage registry is not working for a couple of these shots, and the Roughneck is able to focus us and take us out, but not before we rack up 4 kills, 742 damage. Going back to the dropship, we can pick out our next mech in preparation to drop back into the battlefield. If you're not familiar with this style of gameplay using a drop deck, it's worth noting that there is a cooldown period. You've got about 30 seconds between the time that you click back into the dropship and you actually physically drop back into the game. It is not an instantaneous process. You will be dropped in the original drop position and have to re-engage from there. So kind of keep that in mind in drop deck style play. Speaking of drop decks, hopefully you got a look at the 4 mechs that I have chosen to make up my drop deck while we were in the dropship. And what I went for was kind of a balanced approach in my mech selection for this particular map and for this particular scenario. So 2 of my mechs, which is half, are going to be ballistic weapons based. Those are going to run colder on the hot map. I didn't want all 4 mechs to suffer from heat problems. 2 of my mechs are laser builds, and that gives me flexibility. If the drop goes long, I've got 2 units that are not ammunition based and risk running out of ammo. And then 2 of the mechs also came with jump jets to give me flexibility of maneuverability, especially on this map, and getting over some of the obstacles and traversing the vertical heights that this map can present. So hopefully you can appreciate the approach on how this was picked out. Obviously, when you're going through the event criteria, they will also give you a tonnage limitation. So you have to pick your mechs and stay within the allotted tonnage as well. Now, jumping back into the action with this particular mech, it's our Fafnir 5 Quad LB10 build. So I wanted it to be fairly cold, throw out lots of DACA, not worry as much about heat. And we are slowly trying to push up a very steep section of hill, and this is what I was talking about. The vertical obstacles that you have to overcome can be quite daunting at times on this map, and of course I'm still learning some of this rugged terrain, as it were. But we managed to peek up and over top and start putting our LBs to good use. We have found an enemy assault mech. His teammate just got taken out, and I have got another enemy mech who's trying to push me, and it's the Timberwolf. This should be interesting because after throwing out so many shots, he is going to run hot, and in fact, he shuts down right then, and that allows me to spin around, getting the kill shot on the Mad Cat. Pushing around the rock outcropping, we find a Mad Dog, and he is SRM heavy, which means I have the range advantage at this stage of the game as long as he doesn't turn into me, and he's kind of making a run for it. So let's see if we can capitalize on our superior range over his SRM-6s. He's running towards some of my teammates. They're quickly focusing him down. He is half down with an open CT, open left torso, so I don't think he's going to last very long. And unfortunately, I haven't been keeping a very good eye on the rest of the battlefield, and I managed to find a very fresh enemy Corsair. This is not going to go well for me, but I'm going to do as much damage as I can, possibly overheat him and shut him down, but it's still not enough to save me. I'm open left torso now and being focused by two other enemy units who have pushed up into the high ground of Box 4. They are quickly able to focus me down, but not before I add another kill and another 699 damage to our running total. And here again, we go back to the dropship. We're going to pick up our next mech. This one, the Phoenix Hawk 2, and it is the champion variant, and we're going to hit the battlefield with our Phoenix Hawk. As we drop back into the fight on this match and start the long walk of shame back yet again, there are a couple things that I do want to talk about as far as this map goes. For those of you who are less familiar with this Terra Therma quote-unquote classic map, there's a few details that you want to take into consideration.
New target.
And the first thing is, hopefully you noticed when I was in my Fafnir trying to cut through the bottom. That bottom area in the center holds in the heat. I was running 9 and 10% on my heat skill just walking through there. There's lots of lava and lots of heat. So keep that in mind if you go into that area, especially in a laser vomit build or something that does not have a good heat dissipation delta. Secondly, if you choose to push up top where most of the fighting takes place on this map, there's something about that center area. I don't know if it's because of the sheer scale of it or the fact that it's wide open, but it's not as small and closed in as you think it is. It's actually 600 plus meters between those giant stone pillars. So you're actually at mid and long weapons ranges once you get up into the center, unless you push across or around the outside to close those distances. So be aware of that. And last but not least, the most fun, for those of you not familiar with sarcasm, fun aspects of the open area at the top is it is very uneven ground, and some of the depressions are quite deep. You can easily get your mech hung up on the uneven ground and fail to push forward or move in the direction that you think you're going to be able to go or should go because of that uneven ground. It's like tripping over the buildings on one of the city maps. So just be aware of that little fun detail if you go up to fight in the center. We have made it back into the center with our Phoenix Hawk, and we're engaging targets of opportunity wherever they present themselves. We do have a definite advantage at this point. We are way ahead on the capture clock, and I'm going after this Stormcrow whom I found as an open CT, and for that we must finish him off. It's pretty even still on the kills, but we're definitely ahead on capture times, and this is what I talked about, a drop like this going long. Keep your eye on the drop clock. We are under 1 minute to go, and when that runs out, it's whoever's ahead on kills and or capture time is going to be declared the winner. So we finish off the Stormcrow, we come around, we've been fighting this Cyclops hit and run, and now we're going to focus him down because he is also open center torso, and this last barrage manages to punch through his center torso. Unfortunately, he does a number on one of my teammates before I'm able to put him down fully, and his teammate, the Uziel, is also open center torso, so we're going to take advantage of that as well and get the kill. And now we're closing in on Kilo, the Timberwolf. We get some back shots on him, and I want to exploit that further, but the clock runs out. Our drop clock drops to 0. We win this one based on time, on where we were when time ran out. So switching over to our end screen, we wind up with 8 kills total, 6 KMDDs, 16 components destroyed, 1,848 damage done.